The Velotric Thunder 1 ST is an approachable featherweight electric bike with a torque-sensing E35 pedal assist system. It's got 5 levels of pedal assist indicated by colorful lights. Pink indicates turbo mode, which I recommend you try at your own risk. It's addicting and you probably won't get all 52 miles of range out of the battery if you abuse it. The Thunder 1 ST is compatible with Apple Find My, so you can track the location of your bike. It's got an automatic headlight and you can get assistance up to 20 miles per hour. The Thunder 1 ST solves a crippling problem in the electric bike space by offering 2 frame sizes, small and medium. The problem is most e-bikes are simply too large and too heavy for smaller riders. The Thunder 1 ST in frame size small is perfect for riders as short as 5'1", and at 36 pounds it's easy to maneuver compared to typical e-bikes that weigh over twice as much. However, the ST also comes in a medium frame size, which is designed to accommodate riders up to 6 feet tall. In this Thunder 1 ST review, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about this electric bike before you buy it for your outdoor adventures this season. Pretty light. And here's what it looks like when you get out of the box. It comes with 700 by 40C tires. These are actually a very reasonable tire size that'll be good for commuting and riding on city streets. Name brand Tektro rotors. 160 millimeter should be plenty sufficient for a 36-pound bike. This one comes in the lava color, but there is another color available. And this is the medium frame, but it also comes in a small as well. And here's our first glimpse at some fanciness. Locate with Apple Find My. Several modes. Let's see what's in the box. Find My enabled. Tools, charger, 2 amp charger. Output is 42 volts, meaning this is a 36 volt bike. Kickstand, pedals, rear taillight, battery operated. Headlight, actually not sure what this is yet. Bell, reflectors, and here's the seat that comes on the bike. It's like a medium width. It's got some shape to it, a little bit of a groove there in the middle. And on the rear of the bike, we get a Tektro rotor, also 160 millimeter, paired up to a Tektro hydraulic caliper, which are activated by a Tektro lever. The geared hub motor on the rear is branded Velotric, and it is a 350 watt continuous output motor, 600 watts peak, 36 volt motor. You'll secure the seat down with a wrench. No quick release lever, which makes it more difficult for somebody to just walk up and take your seat, but a little bit less convenient for quickly adjusting your saddle on the go. And we get 8 gears on the Shimano cassette. Pretty typical Shimano Altus derailleur. Alright, a couple things I gotta point out real quick. You see this hydraulic caliper here? The line runs into the frame. I've never seen that on a $1,500 bike before. If you look at this bike from a distance, you can't even tell it's an e-bike. The battery is completely built into the frame, and in general, this has a very stealthy, sleek appearance I'm seeing so far. And speaking of clean, much better. Overall, this is a very easy build. Thunder. Shifter super snappy. And I was just noticing the rotors are drilled and slotted. Definitely helps with braking performance. This bike is so light. And when you are done building the bike, this is what a 6'5" dude looks like sitting on the bike with max saddle height. This is the medium frame. Handlebars have a slight rise to them, and they're also swept back just a little bit for a little bit more comfort. The hand grips are rubber and ergonomic shape. Here's the controls for the pedal assist and the headlight. We get a bell. I'll show you that in a moment. There's a Shimano shifter with 7 gears and Tektro hydraulic levers. And out of the box, there's a sticker up here that tells you all about your pedal assist modes and how to hook up the Locate Apple Find My turbo mode. We're gonna have to try that out soon. So check it out. If you have an iPhone, they give you this little attachment here. It's got 3M tape on the back. You just slap it on there. So you got a phone holder mount, and this same little piece right here snaps right in there. So you can mount your phone right there on the dash, and then we have this button to power it on. Let's give it a try. So the whole thing powers up and shows you your battery life right here. And speaking of battery life, one of the very few indicators that this is an electrical bike is the charging port right here. And this little sticker here tells us all about the pedal assist modes. So check it out, the colors correlate. There's green, blue, orange, red, and purple. Now if I tap the pedal assist modes, it goes from white, which is off, to eco mode, which is green, blue, normal, sport, turbo. And then your battery life is indicated right down here. So you have your plus and your minus for your pedal assist, then your headlight. To turn the tail light on, you just press that button down there. There's a lightweight and minimalist headlight up front. So check it out. To hook up the Find My, just make sure the bike is on, then open Find My on Apple. Go to Add Device, Add Other Item. Now it's searching for items and you hold this button for 10 seconds. It'll start flashing white, which we see it's doing. And you hear it make a noise. There it goes, Velotric. Press connect, Matthew's bike. All right, we're all hooked up. So check this out, I'm gonna do the play sound button. It works. All right, so let's hop on the Velotric Thunder 1, get this bike out for a ride. First thing we're gonna do here is start the Strava so we can see our official distance. And as you guys know, I start all of my reviews off showing the bike's ability to climb a 20% grade from a stop. And even though I know this bike is not gonna be able to do it, we're gonna go ahead and try it on turbo mode in downshift gears. So down to 1, turbo mode, pedaling. So this bike doesn't have a throttle, so I have to pedal. And it's pretty hard to do this hill under pedaling. So we're gonna roll into the hill under turbo mode with a little bit of a rollout and then pedal into it just to showcase this bike's ability to climb a really steep hill. This is really not what this bike is meant to do. So if you have a lot of steep hills in your area, the Velotric Thunder 1 is probably not going to be the best choice for you. So even like most of my really high power bikes have a hard time making it up that hill. But to keep this review 100% transparent, I just want you to know these are not like hill climbing monster bikes. These bikes are going to do best on like flat ground or maybe some like easier hills, but they do have gears. So you can like drop down the gears like really low, and that 350 watt motor will give you a nice boost going up hills. But in general, a 36 volt system is just not like the highest power kind of bike. So as we head on down to the beach here, we're gonna try out some of the gears and pedal assist modes. And a popular question on my channel is, can you pedal an electric bike without the battery and motor on? Typically the answer to that question is pretty much no, they're too heavy. But this bike starting out, you know, on like gear 1 with no pedal assist whatsoever, I can get this thing rolling like pretty decently. It only weighs like 36 pounds. So like this is the kind of bike you could actually pedal with no assistance whatsoever. But this is an e-bike, so let's go ahead and bump it onto pedal assist 1 now. And it lights up that little green indicator down there showing that it's giving you a little bit of assistance. And you feel that motor kick in nicely. Like it just gives you a nice gentle amount of power. Looking at my speedometer here, pedal assist 1 is holding me at about 12 miles an hour. And that is significantly different on this bike because this is a torque sensor. So the bike will actually give you feedback based on how much effort you're putting in to the pedals. So if you really want to get your best exercise and have the motor help you the least, just keep it on pedal assist 1, bumping it onto pedal assist 2, which is the blue indicator. You feel a little bump in that power. And now if I put a lot of effort in, it'll take me up to right around like 18 actually, wow. And going around that corner, I could feel this bike just feels like so much more nimble and lightweight than most of the bikes I review on this channel. Most of the bikes I review on this channel are 2 to 3 times as much weight as this bike. They're kind of like this bike up here, like fat tire bikes. So that one's a little more powerful there. But really the Velotric Thunder is more about bicycling than motorcycling, whereas like a bike up there is kind of more about motorcycling than bicycling. So what I'm noticing about the ride position on this bike is I really like these ergonomic hand grips. They're like rubber, and the torque sensor on a bike that you want to get some exercise on really does make all the difference. It totally changes the feel of pedaling the bike. Like a lot of times on the cadence sensors, they kind of work like on-off switches and they cut you off at like hard speed limits. So like pedal assist 2 will take you up to like, it'll like floor it up to like 12 miles an hour, and then it'll stop helping you immediately at 12 and give you absolutely no more power. Torque sensors work quite a bit different. It's a little bit hard to explain, but torque sensors are far superior than cadence sensors. Okay, so I'm about to emerge into traffic here. Pump this thing straight up to pedal assist 8 and get moving a little bit here, putting in some effort of my own. I believe this bike tops out at about 20, and that's what it feels like I'm going right now. And to comment on the gearing, this is a very natural feeling cadence for reaching pretty much top speed on this bike on gear 8. We'll merge on over here, head on towards the beach path. This feels like riding a bicycle with basically, you know, a little bit of juice added in. You get your riding position is like a little bit up on the handlebars, but the handlebars do have like a rise to them and they sweep back just a little bit. So like riding position on this bike is like comfortable, it's not too laid back. It gets you in like a riding position. So typically what I like to do right here is 0 to 20 speed under throttle. Only this bike does not even have a throttle. So I weigh 200 pounds. We'll just see like what I can do 0 to 20 with my GPS speedometer here, pedaling. And we'll just throw it on turbo mode. So bump it on up a few. I can see it's pink there. So we are turbo. I'll just give it a pretty decent effort here. Ready, go. Oh, power's kicking in. Gear 2, gear 3. Shifting up. 15 and 20. I mean, you can get up to 20 like respectively quick as long as you put in just a little bit of pedaling on your own. So let's see how it does rolling into a more gentle hill. I'm on the blue pedal assist, shifting down to gear 6, 5, putting in some power, and I can definitely feel the motor give me a little boost going up this hill. I'm really not losing much speed at all. So as long as you don't have like super steep hills in your area, this thing will definitely give you a boost for like moderate hills. Oh yeah, and when you put it in turbo mode, you can really feel it helping you as you begin to pedal. And GPS here is showing 21. I mean, at 20, I'm blowing by everybody else out here on bikes. But the beauty of a torque sensor is you can leave it in the top pedal assist mode and pedal a little bit, and it will just give you like a small amount of power. So it works almost the same as like a throttle, whereas like I'm just barely putting any power down to the pedals, but I'm moving pretty quick here. If you're gonna be doing like a lot of off-roading, this is another bike that's probably not gonna be great for you. The tires on this bike, I believe they're 40C. They're like a nice like middle of the road tire. A lot of these bikes I review on this channel, they just have like really big 4-inch wide tires or 3-inch wide tires, and those are some heavy tires. And while they do have their benefits, all that weight just really adds up, and rotational mass, these tires are just like so much more reasonable for like actually pedaling and riding a bike. Another thing I'm noticing about this bike is the saddle on it is actually pretty darn comfortable. A lot of times I put saddles on these bikes that are just way too skinny. I actually find the saddle to be like the perfect width. It's got like a great level of like squish to it. It's not too squishy, but it's also like not too firm either. So this bike is mostly for the street, but let's go ahead and just ride it off in the grass a little bit, see how it feels. Like these tires are wide enough to kind of be a little bit of like a, you know, hybrid kind of bike, all terrainy. You know, you can ride it in the grass. This thing's really meant for the street though. Another thing I'm noticing about this bike is the motor is very, very quiet. A lot of times these hub drive motors, they have like a little bit of a whine to them. Looking at this bike and listening to this bike, there's really no indication to the untrained eye that this is an e-bike, except if you could notice that little hub motor on the back and this little light up bar right here. Which, speaking of that little light up bar right there, that gives you your range indicator, your battery life indicator. We've been out here for 7 miles and basically 38 minutes of riding. Average miles per hour is 11 miles per hour right now. So all around, you know, just looking at this bike from a distance, you really can't tell it's an e-bike. However, on the flip side of the coin, in this lava color, it is a pretty bright color. So if you're gonna be riding around by cars and a car is gonna see a bike, I would think this would be a color they'd see. But if you want a little extra visibility, there is that light on the back that you can press to turn on. It's not hooked up to the battery. I kind of wish it was hooked up to the battery, but it does have an integrated headlight that does run on the main battery hidden away in the down tube. Just pick this light bike right up. So I mean, I think this bike addresses a lot of pain points that people see in buying electric bikes. You know, a lot of them, they're just too heavy. They're just too much e-bike. Like, that right there just flying by. A lot of people aren't really looking for that. Another problem that a lot of my subscribers have on the shorter end of the spectrum is finding an electric bike frame that will actually fit them. This bike is actually really suitable for a smaller person. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle this hill here and see how it does. I have it on blue. I'm gonna bump it onto red and downshift all the way to 1. We better bump it up a little more pedal assist here. All right, so we got it on turbo. I feel the motor helping me. We're going, you know, 1 or 2 miles an hour, maybe 3 miles an hour. I'm in gear 1, the bike is helping me. I'm also putting some power, some work of my own. So I mean, it can like do a decently steep hill, but like I mentioned, this is not really the kind of bike you want to get if you have a ton of hills that look like this. So this is the hill we just went up. It's a pretty decent climb and the bike was able to help me, but not its strong suit. Now get out here on flat ground on turbo mode, now we're jamming. So I've been on this bike for about 8.5 miles now, and I am not uncomfortable at all. Sometimes on these kind of road style bikes, they'll put a seat on it that's just way too narrow, and it sucks. But this seat on this bike is actually pretty wide and has a good level of squish to it. And the ergonomics of this bike is actually pretty darn decent. Like, I do not feel uncomfortable on this thing at all. It's got the ergonomic rubber hand grips, and they are held in place by like this little bolt, so they're never gonna like rotate on you. If they do, you can just tighten down that bolt. We're gonna do the California incline, which is that long incline right there. So we're gonna roll into this little loop-de-loop here with a little bit of speed on pedal assist blue and just kind of see how I can do. I am in the lowest gear. I'm pressing pretty hard. I can feel the motor helping me just a little bit, but I'm bumping onto red. No, we're gonna bump it up some more, all the way to max. And the motor is certainly helping me quite a bit going up this pretty darn steep loop-de-loop here. I don't know what this thing is called. I call it the loop-de-loop. Yeah, we're getting up it. Starting down here from the bottom of the California incline. Oh, we're going to give this thing a little bit of pedal assist here and just see how it does going up the California incline compared to other bikes I reviewed. So we're on turbo mode right now. I might actually bump it down a little bit because it's helping me quite a bit. I don't think it needs that much. It's actually on blue right now. Now I'll put it on orange. And I always forget if this is 7% or 12%. Whatever the grade is, I'll throw that up on the screen here. And I'm just gonna bump it up to red now and turbo mode. So a long gradual incline this bike can handle. I'm really not like putting in too much power of my own right now. It's on turbo mode and we made it to the top. For those of you who are new to the channel, we were just down there on that bike path way down there and went up that hill. We've been out here for 9.5 miles, 53 minutes so far. The battery indicator is showing 4 bars, so it's like showing full. I know it's not all the way full. We'll head on back here after we do a brake test and see what kind of range we get. One thing that I did notice about this bike that is different than most of the other electric bikes I review is it does not have brake cutoff sensors to the motor. So like typically on e-bikes, when you pull in the brakes and if you're pedaling, it will cut the motor off and not give you any power to the motor. This bike will actually give you power to the motor even if you are pulling in the brake levers. Personally, I like this. I like being able to have power to the motor and use the brakes at the same time. On all of my personal e-bikes, I removed the brake sensors, but I just thought I would point it out because I'm reviewing a bike. If you're the kind of person that likes riding in absolute silence, this might be the kind of bike you're looking for. It is so peaceful and quiet out here with no motor noise really. This is a class 1 electric bike, no throttle, cuts you off at 20. The lowest class e-bike that you can have. This will be pretty much legal in any place that e-bikes are legal. This dude's shredding. Look at that skill. That looks like fun. This is fun too. The final test I like to do on all of my bikes is a brake test from 20. So we're gonna bring it up to max speed, which is pretty easy to do, and then full brakes. Yeah, these brakes are great. So it is 160 millimeter hydraulic disc brakes, and from a stop, or from 20, yeah, these hydraulic brakes, they really grab hard and perfectly suitable for a bike that weighs only 36 pounds. So pretty much this bike is kind of like this bike in front of me, except this one has a motor on it. So we can like kind of keep up with him and look like we're like on a bike like his, except for we got a little boost. So I was out there today for 17.81 miles, and according to the battery indicator here, I have 3 out of 4 bars remaining. Now that's not like a very precise measurement of how much actual voltage and how much exact range is left on there. Having done about 18 miles and there's over half the battery left, I could definitely see you getting 50 miles out of this thing. Now that's really just gonna substantially depend on, you know, how much you're relying on using that battery in the motor and how much power you're putting into pedaling the bike on your own. I was actually on this turbo mode quite a bit on today's ride, and I did quite a few hill tests on this bike. You can take that for what it's worth. Final thoughts on this bike. You know, if you live in an area that you have a lot of steep hills, I would not get the Thunder 1. It doesn't excel on steep hills. However, if you're looking for an approachable bicycle that's going to give you a little bit of assistance as you pedal, if you're looking for something that has a nice feeling pedal assist system, the torque sensor on this bike is very intuitive, and when you're riding this bike, it's going to give you feedback based on how hard you're actually pressing on the pedals. It's a huge improvement over a cadence sensor, which they're kind of just clunky, whereas this one is not clunky at all. It's hard to explain. Once you feel a torque sensor, you'll know what I'm talking about. They're just better. So if that's what you're looking for, I think this would be a good option for you, and I think you'd be happy with it. And if you do want to grab one, you can click the link below this video in the description box, and I have a coupon down there for you. You can save a little extra money off your order and also help support my reviews at the same time. However, if this is not the bike you're looking for, you can watch this video here next. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a comment, give me a thumbs up. Catch you next time.